Welcome home to St. Anne's. We want you to know that you're welcome to join us at 10 a.m. on Sundays. Please be sure to hit subscribe to receive our sermons. We can't wait to meet you. Let's talk transfiguration. Woo! All right, we got to get all of our feelings out today because Lent is coming. So we get one last big hurrah. Actually, our last big hurrah here at St. Anne's is on Shrove Tuesday because, hello, pancakes. But this is the Sunday before Lent begins. And so we have this beautiful story, and I love this story. In fact, the church loves this story so much that you get it several times a year. So if you feel like you are sick of hearing me preach about it, it's because we just keep talking about it. It's not me, it's them. Actually, it's both. But let's talk transfiguration because I think it's important. Because you and I love the mountain moments. We love mountain moments. Peter is probably really, truly our patron saint. I know we like to connect with Jesus, but really, we're a Peter people. Go ahead, say that 3 times fast. Peter people. Don't, actually. It'll get you in really awkward situations. So Peter, who is my bro, I love Peter. Peter can't keep his mouth shut. Ever. And Peter usually says the wrong thing at the wrong time. Or when he should say something, he doesn't say anything at all. That's Peter. But Peter is so proud of himself because for the first time, Peter was right. So this story comes right after Peter acknowledges that Jesus is the Messiah. And oh my God, he got it right. Like Jesus patted him on the head and everything. It was a big moment for Peter, big moment. And so he's on a little bit of a rush here, and he gets selected to go on the mountain too. Also, big deal, because everyone else gets left behind. Jesus chooses 3 people. Peter is one of them. Woo! Big moment for Peter. Peter gets to go to the mountain too. He's so excited. Can you tell? Peter's really, really excited. Okay, so up on the mountain, Jesus is transfigured. And it becomes apparent to them that Jesus is truly divine. Now, this is a big deal because they had a really hard time grasping the divinity of Jesus, okay? Do you ever have trouble grasping the divinity of Jesus? We do, especially as Episcopalians. We like to talk about, like, Jesus is just a really cool guy, you know? He's a good prophet. He said some really good things that we should follow, but we really struggle with the divinity of all this. So imagine if Jesus is your bro, understanding the divinity of Jesus. Do you think you might struggle with it a little bit? Like if somebody that you knew, you found out is the Messiah, are you going to struggle with that just a teeny tiny bit? Like you've partied with this person, okay? You know. Okay, that is this relationship, okay? This is truly a brotherhood. They are besties. And he finally gets it. And so up on the mountain, Jesus is transfigured, and they see it. They really, truly see it. And it's overwhelming, and it's awe-inspiring, and it's just this incredible, beautiful moment. And Peter, God help him, he opens his mouth. Because he's like, oh my God, this is incredible. Have you ever had incredible moments in your life where you're just like, I want to bottle this moment? Like, have you had a moment where you're truly aware, like in that moment, of how incredible that moment is? You've had it, right? Where it's a truly transcendental moment. Ooh, say that one. It's worse than Peter. So that is what Peter recognizes this moment as. In that moment, Jesus is transfigured, and Peter grasps it for what it is. Because all the prophets are there. And the prophets themselves are bowing down to Jesus. Does that make sense? That in this, they see that Jesus is the culmination of all the prophets, of all the history, of all the law, all right? And that's a little bit hard for us to grasp because we're not Hebrew people, and so we don't really understand the power of that text. I mean, I know we read it, but we don't really grasp the full power of that. But in this moment, they realize that Jesus is the culmination of all the things, all of the things. And Peter wants to bottle that. He wants to stay there. And he's like, hey, let's build a little altar here. We'll enshrine this moment. We could just stay here. This is good. This is a good moment. We could stay here. And God's like, no, you can't stay here. Stop it. Now, it's written more beautifully than that. Okay. But that's the Meg translation. And we all know how awesome the Meg translation. Nailed it every single time. Okay. So God is like, stop it. Stop it. And Jesus has to come along and he's like, hey, I know my dad yells really loud because he's got dad voice. Y'all know dad voice, right? I mean, my dad didn't have dad voice. My mom has dad voice. But we all know that voice, right? And just hey, it's okay. It's okay. It's fine. But dude has a point, and we can't stay here. Okay? You need to calm down from the dad voice, but it's right. We can't stay here. You and I get stuck in this. You and I love the beautiful moments, the incredible, powerful, awe-inspiring moments, right? We want to stay in them. We think that we should build shrines to these incredible moments. And really what happens is we trap ourselves in mausoleums made of stone and stained glass. Beautiful, beautiful cathedrals. They're mausoleums for the death of God. I'm going to say that bluntly because I think you and I get trapped in it. You and I get trapped in these beautiful visions, and we're going to stay in those visions, and we get stuck there. The other problem we have is the opposite. We get too stuck that we forget the mountains exist. We're so busy changing the systems, fixing all the injustices that we become angry and bitter in them. We forget those mountain moments. And I think that in many ways is the rejection of the church. We see that. The church is nothing but hypocrites. I'm not going. They do nothing but perpetuate all this sin and evil in the world. You've heard it, right? You felt it, right? Just this horror and disgust of all the lies that the church represents. And we've seen a rejection of it. And in that rejection of our own hypocrisy, we've seen a rejection of God. We have forgotten the mountain. So how do we live in both? Because that's what Christ is really about, and that's what the transfiguration is really about. How do we remember the mountains, feel inspired by the mountains, and then get off of it to do the work? And how? How do we not get so sucked in to the toxicity and crippling horror of the world that we forget that the mountain was there? That's tough. That's tough, my friends. And I'm here to tell you that it's tough. Can I be real with you for a second? I'm going to sit down so we can be real. Meg's going to be real. I don't know if you know this about me, but I don't really deal well with authority. Why are you laughing like that? Okay, so I struggle with the big church. Okay, I struggle with Christianity in general. I struggle with the Episcopal Church. I struggle with all of those things. But also in my vows as a priest was that I would do everything in my power to participate and be a part of and try and change those systems and be a part of those systems. I struggle with that. You know the saying, bloom where you're planted? I hate it. But also I really embrace it, because I don't know if you guys know this about me. I love to be happy. I'm just a happy person. I love to laugh. I love to be happy. I love to be around people that I enjoy being around. I love to do the things that I love to do. I am a smiling and annoying person. And I know that I'm annoying, okay? I get it. I'm obnoxiously happy. Okay. However, when I go into these moments, I really struggle, because I know that I'm called to change them. But I also know that it's very, very hard for me to change the systems that I find myself in. How do we balance that? How do we balance our frustration with the systems that we see, the systems that harm ourselves and harm the world around us, that harm creation? How do we fight against them and still bloom where we're planted? How do we remember the mountain? How to remember that Jesus, the Messiah, is there too with us? It's tough. It's really, really tough. And I tell you, we are called to do it. And it's hard. And I don't know if you know this about me too. Not only do I have a problem with authority, but I also love plants. Like, really, if it's alive, I adore it. I'm not kidding. Like, really, truly. And I love my dog. I love things. Remember, we go back to the Meg's, like, annoyingly happy. Yeah. I love plants. And it's the season of seed catalogs. It is the season of the seed catalog. I know. I'm the reason they won the Super Bowl. Because things were really bad until I put my order in. And then it turned around. 2 Sundays in a row. 2 Sundays in a row. Chiefs are terrible. I put in my seat order. Boom, they win the game. You're welcome. You're welcome, Kansas City. I've yet to get a fruit basket, but whatever. Okay, so it is seed time, and it's the season where you know spring isn't really coming, but you feel like it kind of sort of is, right? It's sunny today, like, right? It's seed time. Okay, I'm going to tell you the most inspirational, like, I know the cross, we love the cross, and I know we love hearts and all those fun things, and the fish, we love the fish, and, you know, we kind of love the bird. I mean, we Episcopalians struggle with the bird, but, like, we get the Holy Spirit thing. I'm going to tell you, my image of what I'm called to be as a Christian is the sunflower. You want to know why? Sunflowers are exactly who we as Christians are called to be. Not only do they bloom where they're planted, and God help them, they will grow anywhere. They're not quite a dandelion, but kind of that same ilk. A sunflower will literally grow anywhere. But it's not just that they will grow anywhere, and this is where I get into my farmer history. You know that there are some plants that are what we call heavy feeders, right? They take a lot out of the soil. Corn is this way, tomatoes are this way. What are some other things that are heavy feeders? You know, they're just heavy feeders. And you have to, you can't grow them in the same place 2 years in a row because they've destroyed the dirt. And you've got to put something else there. That's why we cycle through, like, soybeans and corn, and why George Washington Carver was so interested in the peanut. The peanut is a really, really good cover crop because it renews the soil. Green beans are this way, but ew, who cares about green beans? Nobody cares about green beans. Literally, no one. If you care about green beans, I always get in trouble anytime I say that. See, Janice likes green beans. Give all your green beans to Janice. She likes green beans. Oh. Okay, there are more green bean lovers here than I realized. Whatever. Okay, but the sunflower is not a heavy feeder. It is like those. It actually changes the dirt that it's in. It's why I think this is true. It's why you see so many in Ukraine is because it actually is good for the soil. You grow sunflowers, they're really, really good for the dirt. And yet they're beautiful, right? What is happier than a sunflower? I Okay, not you green bean people. You don't get to answer this question. For the rest of you, what's happier than the sunflower? Literally nothing. Sunflowers are happy, like by definition. It's the only bouquet that you get where they didn't put all this other filler in there because, like, just sunflowers are beautiful. Sunflowers get it. Sunflowers are beautiful where they are planted and yet change the dirt in which they find themselves. You and I are called to be sunflowers. You want to know something else really cool about sunflowers? Their face follows the sun. May we all follow the sun.
We want you to know that you're welcome to join us at 10 a.m. on Sundays. Please be sure to hit subscribe to receive our sermons. We can't wait to meet you.
You're like zucchini people. Anyone here